We are live with the Health, Love, Life, and Adventure Show with Coach Arnie on the WGSN-DB Going Solo Network, TV, and podcast, #1 Internet Talk Network. And we are here on a beautiful Wednesday afternoon in Arizona. I'm getting used to this now. And that's me, Coach Arnie. And yeah, it's beautiful out here. We got a little cold streak. The temperature's dropping, and we have some below normal temps here in Arizona. And I'm starting to track the weather in the Grand Canyon for my upcoming R5. And for those of you, I keep getting into little discussions with people on what an R5 is. I always thought it was double rim to rim to rim, but a lot of people may not understand that either. So they think, well, then that would be an R6. No, it's actually R5 if you count the rims, but doesn't really matter. It's the way I'm doing it. It's going to be about 85, 86 miles since I'm going down South Kaibab and up the North Rim and then back down the North Rim and up South Kaibab and then turn around and do it again. So that's coming up at the end of the month. I have my room set to go, and hopefully, as I've talked to my coaches, unless it's a bad rainstorm, rain is really the only thing that's going to stop this trip. Snow, I'll be okay. Just got my new micro spikes in the mail today, so I lost one in some snow last time. But we'll see. Everything looks good. Everything looks good for the end of the month because this next weekend is going to be super busy, and I didn't want to go the week after that either, just in case. So there we go. But today we're going to talk about the power of purpose, and I wanted to get into a little discussion with everybody about purpose. We all hear about it. We all talk about it. And some may even call it their why. But, some pretty standard definitions are like the ability to do, act, or produce, depending on what it is. My purpose, and I kind of got this idea last weekend when my niece was here visiting from Tucson, Arizona, and where she's a school teacher. And, she knows about my Grand Canyon adventures. And so first thing she said, and probably my wife has been talking to her. And so she goes, what's behind, she goes, she wanted to know about the Grand Canyon, what was going on with all that. And right away I went, oh, you want to do it with me? Not this one, but coming up. I thought she wanted, because I had taken her brother before on a trip. And she goes, no. I just want to know. She wanted to know why I was doing it. And I got excited. I shared with her kind of the whole story, and about from beginning to end, really, and how I got to this point. And she goes, oh, now I get it. And I was, and during that, I was excited. I was passionate. I was purposeful, and I was energized. And I had just got home from a 7-hour hike, and but I was energized, just telling her what this thing was all about. And so purpose is really, moving towards something. Another thing I had written down was purpose is a fundamental truth that gives your life meaning. And so whether your purpose is to teach, to help, to hike the Grand Canyon, but really, my truth is not hiking the Grand Canyon. It's helping and teaching other people. And so by me learning about the canyon, I can teach it. I can help people to do it. I can just got off the phone with a doctor a little while ago. I can help them physically prepare for it. You know, we talked about he's doing a challenge here coming up in a month or so for Christmas, and his challenge is about stopping smoking. And he wanted to know what is one thing I could do as an exercise physiologist that can help people, you know, that's related to stopping smoking. And right away, everybody wants to think about is something aerobically, right? Breathing, get those lungs going. And I said, well, I go, that would be great. But a lot of people that are probably going to join your challenge don't want to walk. It hurts. And I have a doctor that I'm going to work with this afternoon because he changed his appointment. And he's a doctor. He's retired, but don't always think that the doctor is as smart as they think they are. But he immediately has always, and I've known for a long time, tells his client, well, you need to just start walking, hiking, because that's what he does. And I always have to tell him, I go, his name is Al. I go, Al. I go, here's the thing. Not everybody can do that. Some people it hurts, and they don't want to tell you it hurts. You know, their hips hurt, their back hurts, their feet hurt. And they're not going to tell you that it hurts. They're just going to avoid it. We all want to avoid pain and seek pleasure. Well, the pleasure might be sitting on their behind watching TV and eating a bowl of popcorn, you know? So our pleasure is not someone else's. Our passion is not somebody else's. So basically what I told the doctor, I said, you know what? I'm going to give you something that is a little different and everybody can probably do unless they have some real severe physical problems. And he goes, what's that? He goes, I go, walking backwards. He goes, really? I go, yeah. And I told him how powerful it is in the recovery rehabilitation space as far as knees and ligaments and hamstring muscles and all these things. And he goes, and here's an MD young guy, and he's pretty fit. And he goes, really? I go, yeah. And this is science-based. I said, with younger people, it's how fast you can go because you can actually measure how high they can jump compared to people that just go forward. And they're significantly higher. But with us older folks, it's about how much weight we can pull, how strong we are. And I have evidence now. I'm watching people in their 50s, 60s, 70s that going backwards is making them faster forward without even having to work on any forward motion at all. Very, very little. They're getting better going forward. So the goal is, the result is being better at life by going backwards. It's counterintuitive to what we would think. So I told him that, and he goes, wow, okay, I'm going to do this. And he goes, I'm going to try it myself. I was like, good, you should. You'll feel better. So basically, the truth is not, like I said, it's not about the canyon. The truth is about helping and teaching, because purpose gives us energy. And that's what I was telling you with my niece. I was energized talking about it because it gives us energy to move our lives forward. That's the key. It's in many ways it's like rocket fuel. It's like hitting that nitrous button in a race car, you know, when you have a purpose, because high purpose equals high passion. We all know what passion does to us. You could be dead asleep, and if something that you were passionate about woke you up, okay, and it didn't have to be a person, it could be just something that you were passionate about, and you were woke up and told this thing was happening right now, I guarantee you would come alive. You would be purposeful. You would be energized. Because this is the stuff that you're deeply committed to doing, to being a part of. And it's powerful. It is absolutely powerful. And everybody that is hearing this right now understands what I'm saying. Because when you are deeply committed to something, and we're going to get into some things here that I wrote down as far as the positive effects of and actually, why don't we just, because I'll just go this route first. And I'll come back to, I wrote down some characteristics of purposeful people. But since we're on this track here about some of the positive effects that on our body of having purpose, we are focused, on something. See, one of the things that I teach people that come to me that have a lot of anxiety, even depression, because they are focused on the wrong things. They're focused on the past. They're focused on tomorrow and what's happening at a job or a relationship that they cannot control. But if they had something that occupied their mind that they were deeply committed to, whether it be maybe dogs or building motors in a car or teaching or doing the Grand Canyon, and they were focused on it, there wouldn't be a lot of space in their head for nonsense. As one of my clients, I'm always telling them, hey, look, we got to slow the squirrel in your cage down. Because when that squirrel in his cage starts to go, his brain starts to really suffer with anxiety. But if your mind is occupied by good stuff, there's a better chance that you're not going to be dealing with anxiety and depression. It really is. It's that simple. It's that simple. And the more you can occupy your head with good stuff, the better chance you have of moving forward. And it's kind of like anybody that's given talks on mindset and all that stuff has used the story or the analogy of when you have a pitcher or bucket of mud on a desk and you take pure pristine water and you pour it in there. Eventually, if you pour enough water into that pitcher of mud, it will eventually turn into pristine water. It will wash away all the mud until there's only pristine water. But you have to keep pouring pristine water because eventually that water might collect more debris. And then you have to wash it away again. So the same happens with our brain. That's why it's so important that you not spend a majority of your day watching TV, because most of that stuff is mud, or even some video games or a lot of video games. It's mud, or reading stuff or watching the news. That's mud. So for every, all that negative, it takes pitchers and pitchers and gallons of pristine water to wash away all that stuff. It really does. So one of the positive effects of having a purpose is it's pristine water and it's flowing all the time. If it's your purpose, being a great teacher, being a great husband or wife, or mom or dad, or what I'm doing as a coach, a trainer, a teacher. Right now, my squirrel is running canyon stuff right now. organization. As I'm getting things in, I'm checking off things off my list and organizing. I don't have time to think about negative stuff. It's really cool. And I want everybody to experience that, to have that kind of a purpose in your life. I really do. Versus sitting around going, oh, I wish I had something to work on. I wish I had a project. I wish I had this. I wish I had a purpose. My wife has a purpose. She goes to schools and she talks to kids, high school kids, about drinking and driving. And she's passionate about it. She is passionate about it. And when my son was alive, she was real. That's all she talked about. Drinking and driving. But that was a passion. She had a purpose. Besides taking care of my son, she had a purpose. Okay. And that's huge, which is why she really struggled last year. Not only had my son pass away, but they took away her purpose. They took away her ability to communicate to children, schools, by shutting down all that. And then when she finally did a Zoom here and there, it was not nearly as powerful as going into the classroom. It was a fraction of that. But that's one of the reasons that we have so much anxiety and depression in our world right now, especially with people being at home, because they don't have the opportunity to be around people that they can share their purpose and be with. They're sitting at home staring at a computer all day long. It doesn't work the same. It really doesn't. There's really good science to show that. So, positive effect. Clear your head with good stuff. You feel like you're part of something bigger. Gosh, when you're teaching, when you're coaching, when you're, hiking, maybe you're part of a hiking group. You're part of something bigger. You're all training for a big event. Last year at this time, I was training somebody that came to me and wanted to do the Grand Canyon. We were coming out of COVID and he had started losing weight and he had a purpose. And you know what? He didn't miss a Saturday. And when he did, he went there on his own and did the hike I put together for him. He was a machine and he had never done that before. Now, since then, he probably hasn't done a lot, but he has that memory of training October, November, December, January, and part of February. He went 4.5 months of being focused. He had a purpose, and it was a big deal. He did wonderful, and he's got a memory for the rest of his life. Now, and he also has a way to, if he wants to do it again, he knows he can because he did it. So he was part of something bigger. He was part of a team of people. We went 5 guys, and it was just wonderful. It's actually related to flow. And if you don't know what flow is, it's when you lose track of time, you lose track of yourself, and you don't need anything else. So guys that work on their cars, they could be out there for hours because their purpose is they're going to make that engine sing, purr, and they could be out there for hours after hours, and they don't even care because they're not looking at their watch going, "Whoa, I've been here for 2 hours." They have no idea. They don't care. Okay, they don't care about what all they care about is turning that wrench, and they don't need anything else at that time to make them happy. Gosh, isn't that cool? That's where I'm at when I'm at the people ask me, "How do you go down there in the middle of the night?" And I go, it's amazing, but when you're down there in the middle of the night, it's indescribable, that feeling. The only thing that comes close to it is when you're in flow. And all of us have been in flow at some point. And the more times we are in flow, the more we are happy. I promise you. If your life is nothing but flow, are you kidding me? You are one happy person. You really are. So the more flow, the more happiness in our life. So we also have an enhanced self-esteem. We feel good about ourselves. Holy crap. You're doing something that you love to do. And can you imagine if it was your job, your career? Oh my goodness. That's a double bonus. Not only are you doing something that you're passionate about, but you're doing something that you're passionate about to make money. It's amazing. Now that's real power right there. That is the power of purpose. All right. And then the last one, then we're going to take a break, is it's closely related to hope. And when I say hope, I mean having only positive expectations. So if you're doing things in your life that give you that hope, that positivity of great things happening, man, that's going to just pull you forward. That's going to continue to pull you forward. I guess we're not going to take a break, but that's cool. So we'll just keep rolling here. So hope is powerful. I was listening to a story years ago about miners. I think they were in South Africa somewhere, and they had been trapped in a mine accident. And one of the person that wrote this little piece made a comment about how we could live, I think he said 30 days without food, probably longer. 30 days without food. I've gone 5 days without food, but 30 days you could, or longer. You could go maybe 3 days without water. Does that sound right? Okay. And if you're pretty fit, you're like a Navy SEAL or something like that, you might be able to go 3 minutes without air. But you can't live not even a minute without hope. Sounds crazy, huh? But think about it. I've been with a lot of people on their deathbed or close to the deathbed. And when they have realized that there's no hope in their life for recovery or whatever it might be, maybe they've been convinced that that's it. Time to check out. I was just got a note from my friend yesterday, and about a friend of ours whose dad passed away, and he had dementia. And I go, oh, that's what I am an expert in. I did a lot of work with that, and still do. And he goes, well, if I get to that point, just, shove me over a cliff. And I said, well, and then I kind of refocused his brain of what doesn't have to go like that. I was trying to give him some purpose to avoid that, the purpose of health, fitness. And it ended up being a conversation about coming over and working with me and getting himself in better shape to avoid that, and because it's not that easy. It's not that easy to say, just throw me over a cliff. No, that's not the way we work. It's not the way we work. And if you get to that point, you don't even know what's going on anyways. And that's the real dilemma for us. So why not just avoid it altogether? And you can be. But again, it's a mindset. It's a different mindset. But it can be done instead of just giving into it and giving up. Because once you give up that hope, you're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. At least without air, you can struggle. You struggle for 3 minutes, and then you never know. You never know. Maybe something will happen. But when there's no hope, there's no hope. So let's move forward here to 7 things. I wrote down 7 things that or 7 characteristics of those individuals who have a high purpose in their life. And these are just general, but once I go through them, most of you will go, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Now, some will relate to it. Some won't. Some won't. Look. We've all heard of, Simon Sinek's, why, you got to have your why. And, or your reason for being here, your purpose. We've all, but that is mainly for individuals that are in a growth mind or have a growth mindset, are in a personal growth program. You got to remember, most people aren't. I call us the top 5%, and I'm being kind, because most people just get up, get ready, go to school, work, or someplace, and then come home, get something to eat, go to bed, and do it all over again. And there's not a lot of purpose baked in there except survival, which is a purpose. Surviving is a purpose, but we want to go to a higher level than that. But most people don't know how to get there. They don't. And unless they're willing to read, reach out for help, whatever it might be, they're kind of stuck in that loop, that survival loop. And that's not what you would call purposeful. They might think it is, but it's really not. Hey, Graham, how you doing, buddy? So purpose and power of purpose is having some of these characteristics that I'm going to read off. The first one is willing to risk. I had to spend some time with my daughter today, 2 days ago, because of my trip to the Grand Canyon. And she was under the impression that I wasn't going to sleep. So I'm not a big text guy. I am for messages, but I'm not for having a conversation on text. I'm a big guy about, hey, let's pick the phone up and let's have a conversation. So I went over there. I got to see my grandson anyways. And I went over my schedule, which I shared with her, had some sleep periods baked into it. And she goes, oh, well, I get it. And now I feel better. And so people have stopped trying to get me to take along a pal, and once they understand what I'm doing, because this is not something you take along a pal. Now, granted, if you're part of a team that's working together, like with my buddy last year, I worked at his pace and helped him to get up to a pace that we could all work together. And I had a team of 5 that I put together that we all worked together. That was fun. Now, when the higher up you go on that mountain, of life, it's a lot harder to find people that are willing to do that little bit extra. So I have a coach. He doesn't live here. He lives in North Carolina. If he were here, we would do this together, but he's not. So what am I going to do? Sit around and pout about it? No. I'm willing to risk to create an amazing adventure in my life. But I've always been that way. And it's not something that a lot of people are. I had a partner, a young man that I met in high school when I was coaching. And then I helped him in college and to get into physical therapy school, and I employed him as a partner. And he was what you would call risk averse. He didn't like risk. And then I had another clinic, and I employed a bunch of people that were risk averse. They didn't like risk. I was the crazy one, always trying new things and learning new things. And so I'll be honest with you, it wasn't fun to be around people that were risk averse. But when you're around people that love risk, now, is there a downside to that? Sure, stuff could happen. But you know what? If you're not willing to go through life and take some shots, at the end of the day, when I've got my grandson on my knee here, now, but when he's a little older and I can tell him all these cool stories, hopefully some of them he'll be involved with, that's pretty cool. But if you never did anything, that conversation is going to be a little boring, right? So they're willing to take risk. People that are purposeful, they're taking risk. Okay, they're open to new possibilities and opportunity. How many people have been in a job or relationship and it just stagnates? It goes nowhere, and you're not willing to do anything about it. You're not willing to talk to somebody about it or try new things, and you're vanilla. Now, vanilla is fine once in a while, but every once in a while you need some chocolate, some strawberry, or some other flavor. Heck, there used to be a place called Baskin Robbins when I was a kid, 31 flavors. Now you can go in the store and look for ice cream, and there's like 1 million flavors. But if all you ever get is vanilla, what does that tell you? Vanilla. You got to be looking for new possibilities, new opportunity. Maybe there's something else around that corner. Maybe it could be exciting, could be dangerous. That's the risk part. But if you're not open to new possibilities, you won't get hurt. Maybe. I know people that are not open to new things. They still get hurt in relationships and jobs too. But the people that are swinging, man, you never know. You never know. So open to new possibilities, opportunities. It's fun. It's fun. It's scary, but it's fun. How about they have more energy and they are and more emotion about what they do. Like when I was just telling you a little while ago about my niece. She just came over and she wanted to know what that whole deal was with the Grand Canyon. I became energized and emotional about it. And she goes, "Ooh, I get it. I get it." But we're all the same way when it's something that we're excited about, aren't we? Sure. If I'm talking to somebody about horses and that's their thing, you ever talked, or a dog person? You ever talk to a dog person about dogs? They are like off the charts excited. Or how about food people? Oh my God. They'll talk to you about the recipe, men and women. I have a nephew that's a chef, a great chef. And he'll talk to you about the recipe, whether it's, I was talking to him about a turkey one time, and he went through the whole steps of how you did it, all these things. And I mean, I'm just sitting there going, wow, I didn't realize it was so intense. But it is, because it's passionate for them. It's a purpose. They're going to make the best meal possible for whoever they're cooking for, even if it's themselves. Purpose is power. It really is. And you're going to be energized and you're going to be emotional about it. That's what makes it a purpose. Good grief, man. When I'm helping people, I was just sharing with this doctor earlier, like I said before this show. And I told him about a couple of people I'm working with. And he goes, wow. He goes, that's got to be just emotional for you. I go, you better believe it is. It's powerful. It's powerful to see that kind of, that result, that evidence that what you're doing is working. It's like a chef, that recipe, those ingredients that you threw together came out to be this amazing masterpiece. Isn't that what life's about, though? Good grief. Yes, it is. It is about that. Just like, what's the next one? They don't take time for silly things. We talked about that earlier, but one of the facts. They don't take time to dwell on, well, I'm going to be blunt, stupid things. Whether it's, worried about what their neighbors are doing, or worried about what the guy in the other cubby hole is doing, or the cubicle is doing. They just don't worry about stuff. Now, Sometimes that can get them in trouble because sometimes we have to, maybe if you're not taking time to get up from the computer and stretch, so you end up having a sore back because you're so in flow here. Okay, so you have to sometimes be a little more thoughtful of what you're doing, but at the same time, these folks, they don't get bogged down but with meaningless stuff. They really don't. That's what keeps them on fire, because they're always feeding the fire of their purpose. And that's why it's so powerful. It keeps you away from the garbage, it keeps you away from the nonsense in your life and allows you to just stay on fire. You just keep stroking that fire with good fuel. Good fuel. You keep bringing it. Remember we talked about the pitcher of mud, folks that have purpose. They're constantly pouring pristine water into their bucket so that they can constantly keep their focus, their purpose on task. And they don't get bogged down with meaningless nonsense in their life. And that is so important. It really is. It's super important. So they don't take time for petty things. Now, I'm not saying that, look, anybody in a relationship, anybody with a family, anybody with a career. Now, unless you're the boss and you call all the shots, stuff is gonna happen. Just the way it is. I had to make some changes today in my schedule today. I had this block of stuff that I had to do this afternoon, and so far so good. But this morning I had to make some changes, which affected my late afternoon. Did I want to do that? Nope. But I was willing to do it, to be flexible and not have something to dwell about. Well, I wish I would have. Even though I did tell one person, because I had to make a conscious effort to leave because I couldn't trust. I weighed the importance of working on my passion versus waiting in an environment where I couldn't do anything extra. So I decided to leave because there was still no guarantee that that person was even going to be there. And I feel good about it. I just thought about it right now because I'm doing this show. So I brought it up. So we don't want to waste and take time for petty things, for things that don't have a lot of influence on what we want to do. Now, the next one is being very intentional. I love this one. To me, intentional is another word for focus. I have a great friend, coach, that's always telling me, stay focused on the prize. Keep your eye on the prize. And that is so important. Because when we're in a long slugfest, just having an intentionality. Why are we doing it? Get it? Here, there's that why. Why am I here? Well, I'm here because I'm learning how to do the Grand Canyon so that I can teach it. So I can be an expert. I have to go through this fire to figure all these things out. That way I can share the information with other people. I'm taking this course. I'm working on this paper so I can share it, teach it to other people. And to me, that is powerful. To me, that is so powerful. And it makes a big difference. It really does. And when you're able to do that and share, share that power, it gives you more evidence that staying focused, staying on that task, staying intentional. I'm always talking to clients that I coach that when you do a workout, whether it's a strength workout, a mobility workout, or a hiking, running workout, why are you doing this? What's the purpose? How does it play into the big plan? And if you can't answer that question, then toss it. Get intentional about what you do. If you're reading a book, like right now, I'm reading a great book on Winston Churchill. Why? Because it's history, but I'm learning things about people because I work with people. And I want to learn as much as I can about people. And I'm learning about courage. And that's part of my daily prayer every day, praying for courage and wisdom. And wisdom comes from experience. That's what we lack a lot of in today's world, because a lot of people, especially younger people, don't have experience enough to have wisdom. So I pray for wisdom. I pray for courage. We certainly don't have enough courage. That's what intentional allows you to develop. Being intentional. It's powerful. Okay. Don't listen to outside negative voices. Are you kidding me? This one's huge. How many of us get derailed, get knocked off, stumble because we start talking to people? My God. I had a client the other night, and I had to jump him a little bit because he's got his kryptonite. It's an old Superman analogy. His kryptonite is his family. So his younger brother, who's a very smart guy, sharp, got a great job, called him up. They're talking and try to convince him to come home and get a job at his company. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Look at the progress you've made. You're living on your own. You got a great job with a company that loves you and was working with you. You've got a team of wonderful people. And you let your brother knock you off your balance? And he did. He did for a couple of days. He was off center because he let negative people, and I'm not saying his brother's negative, but negativity throw him off of where he was going, the progress he was making. Hey, at some point he'll be able to do that anyways, but not now, not when you're in the middle of it. It's like being in the middle of a marathon and someone say, hey, come over here. Let's go have a sandwich. No, you got to finish this friggin' marathon, dude. You can't just take a break now. It's like being down at Phantom Ranch and or here's one, because this happened to me, being on the North Rim and someone say, hey, I want to quit. What? Quit now? You're halfway through. We got to turn around and go back. Purpose. But if you don't have a strong enough purpose and will and desire, you'll quit. And listening to negative people will weaken you. It will weaken you. It's like a boxer taking blows. Boom. No. Boom. No. Boom. No. Got to get away from that. Get away from that. You've heard trainers say, get out of the way. Don't let them hit you like that, because it's making you weak. And then the last one, as we finish up here, are you willing to grind? Are you willing to keep trying when you get knocked down? There's an adage. You're never down. You're either up or getting up. Because when you're down, you're out of it. That means you quit. I'm not saying it's a horrible thing to quit. Sometimes you got to quit. Look, I've BK'd out of businesses, but I wasn't going to let it keep me down. I was going to keep moving. I was going to keep grinding. When I'm out there in the middle of the summer and it was 110 degrees in Phoenix, Arizona, and I was grinding, because right now I'm getting the payoff for all that, because now the weather is amazing and my fitness is at a high level. My health is good, all because I put the time in when it was 110 and I had to grind and keep going and keep going. And that's what it's going to take all of us. When you have a purpose, you'll do that. When you have something you're working towards, you'll do that. If you don't, you'll quit. So you got to have purpose. You got to have a reason for doing something. And that's going to give you power. I promise you it'll give you power every single time. All right, guys. This is Coach Arnie with the Health, Love, and Life and Adventure Show. And you can always get a hold of me. Give me a holler. I'd love to talk to you anytime about what you're doing and how I can help you. There's my phone number. You can email me and you call me. The best way to get a hold of me is a phone call, 602-390-9144. Love to talk to you. All right, guys. I love you. And till the next time, get that purpose. Get out there and do something great. And then you'll be great. I love you. Bye.